Johnny Wharf in another Hall of Fame spotlight interview for the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame induction class coming up on September the 18th at the Lafayette Hotel. Pleased to be joined by Brian Hardesty, the class of 2002, and let's just jump right into it. Brian, as I remember you on the football field or even on the basketball court, you had some pretty good guys around you. Maybe for our listeners, go back to 2002, talk about some of your teammates, maybe some of the guys that you ran with, and things that might stand out in your mind like that.
Yeah, so definitely football season, we had a strong group of guys. We had a real strong senior class and junior class. Quarterback, Braden Amigo, awesome quarterback. We had great linebackers, Brian Post and Tyler Kelly. Tyler Kelly was a good running back. And then our offensive line was actually built with a bunch of guys that were in that junior class that went on to make the playoffs. We also, on the defensive side, had Kurt the Hammer Bramer and Jesse the Wrecking Ball Rex. So it was a pretty stellar team altogether.
Yeah, and then we roll into basketball, and I think that was the same, like Farr, Burke, Bro. You had some of those guys, right, or no?
Yep. Yeah, we had Farr, Burke, Bro, Amigo, Tyler Law. That year we started four seniors and one junior. So you had Burke, Amigo, myself, and Farr, and then Tyler Kelly was our shooting guard. So we had a pretty good team. We ended up losing the playoffs to Camp McKinley, which is pretty much a home game for them. But they went on to lose in the state championship game, and it was a close game for us. So.
And were you the wrecking ball? Was that your role?
Yeah, I was the enforcer, the guy on the inside that did all the dirty work. I didn't put a lot of points on the board, but I played defense and rebounded.
Oh, I remember it so well. Do you get in touch with any of those guys yet still, or no?
Yeah. So I talk to Brayton usually once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't talk to Farr as much, usually 2-3 times a year. Same for Burke and Bro, but I stay up with Brayton pretty well, being that we were both in the military, and he honestly is still there. So.
Brian Hardesty, class of 2002, 2021 Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame inductee. And Brian, football, basketball, track. Was track, what was your favorite? Did you have a favorite?
I'll be honest, I liked all three sports. Football because of the camaraderie with the guys, and just going out and hitting people. Basketball because we were a good team, and we were dog fighters. We were like a football team that would go out and punch you in the mouth, but we played hard-nosed defense. We didn't score a lot of points, but we rebounded, played defense, and we were good because of it. And then track and field's just different because it's one of those sports where, yes, it's a team sport, but it's an individual thing. So, there's a lot of people that wouldn't realize there's a lot of smack talking that goes on in warm-ups and shot put and discus, for instance, which is what I did. But you had to let your work do the talking. So in the end, if you had a bad day, it was on yourself, no one else. I mean, you had no teammates in that. So if you didn't perform, it was on you.
Yeah, coming from a guy who did perform, this is Brian Hardesty, class of 2002. You could take that resume of accomplishments and put it in a paper airplane and throw it at any opponent. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be back with some more thoughts. Brian Hardesty and our spotlight interview for the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
One of America's great radio stations, WMOA, celebrating 75 years of local radio.
Johnny Wharf along with Brian Hardesty, class of 2002 and 2021 inductee into the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Jump back to track, and then I want to ask you about some coaches or mentors. So track, you said shot put, discus, and is that where you excelled in? You said individually yet as a team, but individually I know you just hit some pretty high marks.
Yeah, so I actually placed, I think I placed ninth my junior year in the discus. My senior year, I ended up going on to the state track meet, both the shot and the discus. I think I was seated like ninth in our regional in the shot put, second in the discus. I won our regional in the discus and actually finished fourth, so I made it to the state in the shot put, which wasn't really one of my strong suits, but I ended up finishing ninth in the state in the shot put at the track meet. I PR'd through 53 feet even, and then the discus. I went in, seeded 5th, finished 5th, and threw a PR of 160. I think it was 165.7. I fouled a 175-foot throw that would have got me 3rd, but you can't count the ones that are fouled. So
you remember them, though, right?
I do. I remember every one of them, especially that one because I released it just a little bit early, and it actually hit the 175-foot cone right on that foul line, smashed the cone, and I really wanted that one back. If I could have held on a little bit longer, it would have got me 3rd.
Brian Hardesty, our guest. Tell me a little bit about in the grow-up days, meaning, when you were in the lower levels, coaches or your folks or anybody maybe that you would look to as a mentor, maybe somebody that made you move on a little faster than the other kids?
So when I was in the 8th grade, I qualified for the Junior Olympics in the shot put. And I went on to compete, and I think I finished, 19 out of 40 kids, which I thought was pretty good for the United States. And while I was doing that, I ran into, obviously, B.J. Mayer. He was my track coach. And he introduced me to a guy named Mike Casafini in Zanesville. And that's one of the things that, the biggest person I have to thank for all my success is probably B.J. Mayer, because he was my coach in middle school and then ended up being my coach in high school. And BJ realized that, he didn't know everything about track and field. He was a great coach, but he didn't know everything. And for that reason, he would take me to Zanesville so I could train with a guy that specialized in throwing. And really, I owe most of my success to BJ for that.
And then how about, I think you're doing some work for your old man right now. How about growing up and the family dynamic?
Yeah, so I think my dad, baseball, truthfully, was probably my best sport growing up as a kid, and my dad was pretty hardcore on baseball. And when I quit playing baseball and went to track and field, he was pretty upset. But he always instilled hard work into me, and he told me, we don't have a name in this area, but that doesn't matter. It's a work ethic and the hard work you put into it. So if you keep your nose down and grind, and really I thank both my parents for that, because they. We grew up on a farm, and we didn't have a whole lot, so you had to work for everything you had. So just that work ethic, I think, helped me excel with sports in high school and even on in college at Cincinnati.
All right. Well, you can add another 3 initials behind that name, Hardesty, and that would be HOF21. So congratulations to you, and we look forward to seeing you at the induction ceremony September the 18th, and enjoyed watching you on the field and on the court when I got to broadcast your game. So good memories, and we look forward to catching up here in a few weeks.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.